Hi boys and girls. Today we're going to learn about insects. We've been learning a lot about them in class and I just wanted to put some things together for you so you have it all in one place. Insects are creatures that have 3 body parts: head, thorax, and abdomen. They have 6 legs and 2 antennae. When we talk about the head, the thorax, and the abdomen, I get a little bit confused. I don't remember how they go, and I know that the head goes first, but then I get a little bit mixed up. So I say this little rap: H to the T to the A, H to the T to the A. And then I think, oh, head to the thorax to the abdomen. And that's how I remember that. So let's take a look. Here's a picture of the insect. You can see the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. Has 6 legs. They're all connected at the thorax. That's how we remember what an insect is. Living creature, 6 legs, 3 body parts, antennae, and eyes. They also have what's called an exoskeleton. The exoskeleton is the hard outer coating around them. It's their outer shell, if you will. Our skeleton is on the inside of our body, their skeleton is on the outside, so that when they get bigger, they wiggle out and there's a new exoskeleton underneath. So the exoskeleton is the hard outer covering of an insect. That's what the exoskeleton is. Okay? So now let's talk a little bit about what is an insect and what isn't an insect. In class, we looked at a couple things. Can you see that? That little guy is a scorpion. He is not an insect. He has 2 body parts and 8 legs. Whereas this little guy, he definitely is an insect. He has 3 body parts and 6 legs. Let's talk a little bit about metamorphosis. Metamorphosis means to change. Okay, when something changes. When we talk about complete metamorphosis, that means it is a total change. The larva does not look like the adult. So look at, here we have an egg, and then after the egg we have a larva, then we have a pupa, then we have an adult. Egg, larva, pupa, adult. So that we can see it like this. Here are the tiny eggs. Here's the tiny caterpillar or larva. They will get bigger. The larva gets bigger. Then it becomes a chrysalis or a cocoon if it's a moth. And then it changes into an adult. Complete metamorphosis has 4 stages. Let's take a look at that a little bit more. Here is the larva. That is the stage in life where an insect has hatched from the egg, but it does not look like the adult. Okay, so that makes sense. This does not look like this. Okay? It's complete metamorphosis, complete change. After it's a caterpillar, it becomes a pupa. That's the scientific name for chrysalis. That's the stage in the life where the larva makes a cocoon or a chrysalis around itself. That's what a pupa is. So egg, larva, pupa, adult. Egg, larva, pupa, adult. 4 stages. It does not look like the adult. Now, if I think about it for a minute and I pretend that I'm going to talk insect, this is how it might sound. So here is the mommy praying mantis. Got it? Okay. Here is the egg sac. And then out of the egg sac comes tiny little baby nymphs. They're little tiny baby insects. So the mama says, "Oh, my little baby, you look just like me. You look just like me, my little baby. I am going to call you Nymph." "Oh, yes, I'm going to call you Well, the nymph gets bigger. It continues to get bigger and bigger. And then look it. Here it is even bigger. Look it, I am still going to call you nymph because you look like me. You look like my little baby, my little Liebchen. Nymph is what I'm going to call you. Well, when I think of incomplete metamorphosis, it means that the baby looks like the adult and that there's only 3 stages. There is the egg. Here you can see the egg. Here is the little nymph, and then it gets bigger and becomes a bigger nymph, and it becomes a bigger nymph, and then it becomes an adult. Then the cycle starts all over again. Egg, nymph, 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 and adult. As the nymph gets bigger, it wiggles out of its exoskeleton, and it becomes a bigger nymph. So when we think about incomplete metamorphosis, there's 3 stages. 3 stages. It's not a total change. This is not a total change. The nymph looks like the adult. When you hear n in nymph, you think incomplete. N in nymph, incomplete. Okay, that helps us to remember. Nymph is the stage in the life cycle where a young insect looks like a small version of the adult. Oh, it's a little baby. He's so cute. He's a little nymph. He is a little nymph. Okay, that helps us remember. Remember, we've got complete metamorphosis. That's 4 changes. It totally changes. Incomplete metamorphosis means that the baby looks like the adult. Okay? And the other thing that I wanted to talk to you a little bit about was some of our experiments that we did. We did experiments with crickets, and in the experiments with crickets, we asked, what is the question? Make a prediction, do an experiment, write what happened. That's the conclusion. Question, predict, experiment, conclusion. Okay, that's what we did with the crickets. When we watched the video with the ants, you can remember that we learned that they followed a scent trail. They put a block in front of it to see if the scent trail was blocked, to see if the ants would stop or if they would go around. We know that the ants stopped and that they got confused. Lastly, when we did an experiment with the cockroaches, we tried to determine if they could cross all different kinds of screen. Round screen, big fat screen, skinny screen. And then some of us were able to test them with hex bugs to see if the hex bugs could do the same. But we really wanted to take a look at those cockroaches to see if they could cross all of them. And we know that they could cross all of them. And the last thing I wanted to share with you was that we talked a little bit about butterflies migrating. We know that the monarchs migrate down to Mexico. Most of them are headed there right now, and that they will winter there. They migrate because they're not able to find any more food here in the north. Our days are getting shorter and it's getting colder, and there isn't a food supply here. So the monarchs migrate. They move to find food or shelter. I know you're going to do great on this test. It's going to be awesome. I'll see you in class.